Admiral Vordak stood on the command deck of the Zephyrian flagship, his 4 arms folded behind his back as he gazed at the holographic display of the tiny blue planet. 17 conquered star systems had earned him the title, the Inevitable, and a reputation that made most species surrender before a single shot was fired. "Another primitive world for our collection," he rumbled, his voice like gravel in a cement mixer. "What do we know about these humans?" Science Officer Pelna tapped her data pad nervously. "Carbon-based bipeds, sir. Only achieved spaceflight within the last century. Their technology is quaint. They've barely colonized their own moon." Quaint. The Admiral barked a laugh that made junior officers flinch. "That's being generous. Have they even developed basic shield technology?" "No, Admiral. Their most advanced warships still rely on metal hulls and chemical propellants." Vordak scratched one of his tusks thoughtfully. "This hardly warrants my attention. Send the Dominion. 1 warship should be more than sufficient." "A single ship, sir?" asked his second-in-command, looking surprised. "Why waste resources? The Dominion carries enough firepower to level their major cities in hours. They'll surrender the moment Captain Lorux enters their system." He waved a dismissive hand. "I have more pressing matters to attend to than watching primitives soil themselves at the sight of our technology." Captain Lorux strode through the corridors of the Dominion, his gold-flecked skin gleaming under the ship's lights. As the youngest captain in the Zephyrian fleet, he saw this mission as beneath him, but also as an opportunity to add another easy victory to his record. "Sir," his communications officer called as he entered the bridge. "We're receiving a transmission from the human planet." Lorux dropped into his command chair. "Put it through. Let's hear what these monkeys have to say before we conquer them." The view screen flickered to life, showing a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. "Approaching vessel," she said with remarkable composure, "this is Commander Lydia Blackwell of Earth Defense Command. Your presence has been detected and your intentions are clear to us. I strongly advise you to alter course and return to your territory. This is your only warning." A moment of stunned silence fell over the bridge before the entire crew erupted in laughter. "Did you hear that?" Lorux wiped tears from his eyes. "Their only warning. Oh, that's precious." The tactical officer could barely contain himself. "Sir, shall I prepare the Conquest protocol or should we surrender to their mighty defense command first?" More laughter echoed through the bridge. "Tell them," Lorux said between chuckles, "that we accept their surrender in advance and will be there shortly to discuss the terms of their servitude." As the Dominion accelerated toward Earth, none of the crew noticed the small anomaly on their long-range scanners, a single human vessel moving to intercept them, broadcasting no signals and bearing no identifying markers. "1 ship?" Lorux mused as it finally appeared on their tactical display. "They sent 1 ship? Now that's just insulting." Little did he know, insulting the Zephyrians was the least of humanity's concerns. #only 1 ship? Part 2. Unexpected resistance. The Dominion sliced through space toward the blue planet, its massive engines leaving a purple ionization trail that stretched for thousands of kilometers. On the bridge, Captain Lorux lounged in his command chair, sipping a celebratory drink before the battle had even begun. "Scan their vessel," he ordered lazily. "Let's see what pathetic technology we're up against." The tactical officer complied. "Sir, the human ship is designated the Defiant. It's small. About 1/8 our size. No apparent weapons arrays. Primitive hull composition." He paused, frowning. "That's odd. I'm having trouble getting detailed readings." "Probably your equipment," Lorux scoffed. "Or perhaps they're trying to hide behind some rudimentary cloaking technology." The view screen magnified the approaching human vessel, sleek, dark, and undeniably tiny compared to the Dominion's kilometer-long bulk. "Look at that." Weapons Officer Grax snorted. It's like a child's toy. Open a channel, Lorux commanded, straightening his uniform. I want to see their faces when they realize what they're up against. The communications officer tapped several buttons. Channel open, sir. Attention, human vessel, Lorux announced with theatrical gravity. This is Captain Lorux of the Zephyrian Empire warship Dominion. Your bravery is noted but futile. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in your immediate destruction. No response came through the channel. Instead, the small human ship began to move. And then it vanished. Where did it go? Lorux leapt to his feet. Unknown, sir. It was there and then, the sensor operator's console erupted in alerts. Sir. It's behind us. Impossible. Lorux spun around as the viewscreen shifted to show the Defiant hovering directly behind them. How did they? Never mind. Target weapons and fire. Targeting systems aren't locking on, sir. It's like the ship isn't there, but we can clearly see it. Lorux slammed his fist on the console. Manual targeting then. Fire everything. The Dominion's weapon banks glowed hot as they discharged a barrage of destructive energy, all of which passed harmlessly through the space where the Defiant appeared to be. Hologram, someone suggested. The answer came moments later when the Defiant suddenly accelerated, moving so fast it left afterimages on their visual sensors. It circled the Dominion completely in under 3 seconds, a maneuver that defied the laws of physics as the Zephyrians understood them. Sweat beaded on Lorux's forehead. Emergency shields. All power to defensive systems. Too late. A series of precisely targeted energy pulses struck the Dominion at its weakest points. Systems began failing throughout the ship. Artificial gravity fluctuated. Emergency lights bathed the bridge in pulsing red. How are they doing this? Lorux whispered, real fear in his voice for the first time. Establish emergency communication with Admiral Vordak. Now. The communications officer worked frantically. Channel established, sir. Lorux didn't wait for the Admiral's face to appear on screen. Admiral. The humans, they're not what we thought. Their technology is beyond anything we've seen. We need immediate reinforce. An explosion rocked the bridge, sending officers tumbling from their stations. Smoke filled the air as conduits ruptured. Through the chaos, Lorux saw something impossible on his private monitor. The Defiant had somehow opened a portal in space itself and was pulling the Dominion toward it. Admiral, he screamed as the transmission cut to static. They're not primitive at all. The rest of his message was lost in a blinding flash of light, #only one ship? Part 3, the tables turn. Admiral Vordak stared at the static-filled screen in stunned silence. The emergency transmission from the Dominion had cut off mid-sentence, leaving the entire command center frozen in disbelief. Play it again, he growled, tusks clicking together nervously. The communications officer replayed Captain Lorux's final message, Admiral. The humans, they're not what we thought. Their technology is beyond anything we've seen. We need immediate reinforce, then static. Just static. Impossible, muttered Grand Strategist Ulmer, his typically smug expression replaced with confusion. One primitive ship cannot defeat a Zephyrian destroyer. Vordak's fist crashed down onto the console. Send the entire Third Fleet. I want every warship we have in the sector converging on that insignificant blue dot. Now. The command center erupted into frantic activity as orders were transmitted across space. Within hours, 47 Zephyrian warships, a force capable of subjugating an entire sector, were hurtling toward Earth. This is absurd, Ulmer continued, pacing nervously. We've conquered species with directed energy weapons and rudimentary faster-than-light travel. These humans barely have nuclear fusion. Apparently, Vordak snarled, our intelligence was flawed. 3 days later, the Zephyrian fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Admiral Vordak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Annihilator, watching the tactical display with all 4 eyes. "Scan for the Dominion," he ordered. "Sir," the sensor operator replied, voice shaking, "we're detecting debris consistent with Zephyrian alloys near the 3rd planet's moon. It appears to be what's left of the Dominion." A hush fell over the bridge. "And the human ship?" "No sign of it, sir." "Wait," the operator straightened suddenly. "We're being hailed from Earth." The main view screen activated, revealing a human female with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair, wearing what appeared to be a simple black uniform with minimal insignia. "Admiral Vordak," she said without preamble. "I am Captain Eleanor Banks of Earth Defense Force. I believe we should talk before you make the same mistake as your Captain Lorux." Vordak bristled. "You destroyed my ship. You will pay with the annihilation of your—" "We didn't destroy your ship," Banks interrupted calmly. "We relocated it. Your crew is unharmed and in temporary containment. If you'd prefer to discuss terms, I invite you to shuttle down alone to these coordinates." To everyone's shock, Vordak agreed. The meeting facility was sparse and underground, a simple room with 2 chairs. Captain Banks sat waiting as Vordak was escorted in. "You've been deceiving the galaxy," Vordak accused without preamble. Banks smiled slightly. "We prefer the term strategic misdirection. Humanity has been observing interstellar civilizations for over 4 centuries, Admiral. We developed faster-than-light travel in 2103, dimensional phasing in 2177, and controlled singularity generation shortly after. That's not possible. Your broadcasts, your primitive space stations, all part of an elaborate charade," Banks explained, leaning forward. "You see, we learned early on that most spacefaring species are remarkably aggressive. So we constructed a carefully curated image of Earth as a developing world, barely worth noticing. All while we studied you. All of you." Vordak's mandibles twitched in disbelief. "You're saying humans have been hiding in plain sight? That your technological capabilities far exceed what you believed possible?" Banks finished for him. "Yes. And you're not the first expansionist empire we've had to educate. #only one ship?" Part 4, A New Understanding. Admiral Vordak sat in stunned silence, his imposing frame suddenly looking deflated in the simple human chair. Everything he thought he knew about galactic power dynamics had just been turned upside down. "You mean to tell me," he finally managed, "that while we've been conquering 17 systems, believing ourselves the apex predators of the galaxy, you've been—" "What? Watching? Taking notes?" Captain Banks nodded. "We have detailed files on 73 spacefaring civilizations, including complete technical schematics of your most advanced warships. The Dominion was child's play compared to some threats we've neutralized. Why this deception? If you're so powerful, why not simply announce yourselves?" Banks leaned back, a small smile playing on her lips. "Have you ever heard of Earth's honey badger? Small creature, looks harmless. But when threatened, it's ferocious beyond its size. Humanity learned long ago that appearing non-threatening has strategic advantages. The wolf that announces itself rarely catches prey. So what happens now? You destroy our empire?" Vordak asked, resignation in his voice. "Actually, we'd prefer to trade cookbooks." "Cook books?" Vordak blinked all 4 eyes in confusion. "Humanity doesn't want conquest, Admiral. We want cultural exchange, scientific collaboration, and yes, new food. Your empire has 17 systems worth of cuisine we've never tried." 3 days later, the grand treaty room aboard the human diplomatic vessel Harmony buzzed with activity. Zephyrian officers mingled awkwardly with human representatives, trying exotic Earth beverages and foods. You fermented these grapes for how long? A Zephyrian biologist asked in astonishment, holding up a glass of red wine. Nearby, Admiral Vordak watched a human engineer explaining the principles of pizza to his fascinated tactical officers. The supposed primitives had not only outmaneuvered their most advanced warship but were now winning over his crew with circular food. "Remarkable, isn't it?" said a voice beside him. It was Banks, now dressed in formal diplomatic attire. "Your strategy," Vordak admitted. "Appearing harmless while developing technology centuries beyond anyone else. Quite effective. We learned from Earth's history. The loud empires fall. The quiet ones endure." As Vordak signed the non-aggression treaty with an ink pen, an archaic human tradition they insisted upon, he couldn't help but marvel at his own stupidity. All this time, thinking these hairless apes were barely out of their planetary cradle, when they'd been watching, waiting, developing technologies that made the Zephyrian Empire look like cave dwellers with sticks. 6 months later, Admiral Vordak stood before a class of junior officers at the Imperial Academy. The curriculum had been significantly revised. The first rule of galactic conquest, he told them, the scars of his humbling experience still fresh, is to never, ever judge a species by appearances. I sent our finest warship to claim a world of supposed primitives, and do you know what happened? A nervous cadet raised her hand. They defeated it with one ship, sir. No, Vordak corrected, a wry smile forming around his tusks. They could have destroyed it with no ships at all. They sent one ship out of courtesy, to give us a sporting chance. The classroom erupted in disbelieving murmurs. Remember this lesson well, he continued, bringing up an image of Earth on the display. Sometimes, the most dangerous predator in the galaxy is the one pretending to be prey. And sometimes, he added with a chuckle that still contained a trace of embarrassment, an empire's greatest victory is knowing when to order pizza instead of planetary bombardment.